Hello, how are you feeling? Welcome to this week's episode, and I am really very happy to have Dr. Ravi Kannan. Doctor, you have, I think 19 years nearly, you have traveled, you were in ADR hospital, and then you took a decision, to travel from all the way from Chennai to Northeast. What was the driver, or how could you take that decision?
So, as you said, I was at the Cancer Institute for a decade and a half, and I learned many good things there. Whatever, a large part of my philosophy is driven by what I learned at the Institute from Dr. Krishnamurti and Dr. Shanta. And then there came a turn where I left the Institute overnight without a plan B. And then we were into a sort of loose group practice. This hospital, as I mentioned earlier, was started by lay citizens. And at some point of time, the then director of the hospital, Dr. Chinmay Chaudhary, visited a number of cancer hospitals. He spent time with us in Chennai. And then he was very impressed by the philosophy at the institute that everybody should be treated, whether or not they could pay. And so he was in touch constantly. He would keep referring patients. And one day when he learned that I had quit, he started the conversation about me going to Silchar to work in the hospital. Initially, we were very reluctant because of what we had heard in the media of bomb blasts and floods. And so Sita said, no way, we're not going anywhere there. But they kept on, the society members kept calling, kept writing. So we came on a visit, and then we spent a week there. And then it was Sita who said, there's a lot of need here. Let us do this. And so she came back, she resigned from work, and she initiated conversation in both our homes, her parents, my parents. And then we found ourselves here. And initially, when I left, I told my colleagues that I would be gone for 5 years. But 5 years have now become so many years.
So I really want to acknowledge Sita is Mrs. Kannan, who initially said, no, we don't want to, but she's the one again who decided or influenced to say, you are needed here. She was doing a high-flying job, I know, I remember. So she left that also to be part of this journey together. I think it's a journey together. So tell me one thing, you both have been here for so many years. Not both, I think entire family have seen. Mothers also there. So what is it that you have taken from Northeast, or how have you changed from this culture? There's so many culture differences and all.
So I know I have changed over the last many years. I used to be very hot-headed, to the point of being arrogant. I used to be very impatient, very short-tempered. And over the years, I have learned to be patient. I have learned that many things will take time to happen, that you cannot change things overnight like that. Things sometimes will take a long time. And you have to be patient if you want to bring about change. If you want to transform something, you have to give it its time, because there are many things, many people involved, many processes involved, many barriers, some of which you may not even realize. And so all of this has to be addressed if the change has to happen, and more importantly, has to be sustained. And so I have learned to be patient. The second thing that I have learned is to be okay with shortcomings in people. I used to be very intolerant of my residents, of my colleagues. And I think I'm a lot more accepting of human thing. Even I'm not perfect. I have plenty of faults. And so when I have so many faults, I have no right to expect others to be perfect. So I'm more accepting of human frailties these days. I think these are the two. And then, of course, the understanding, the depth of understanding of poverty, what poverty can do, how crippling and hurtful it can be, how it impacts not only on people's bodies but also on people's minds and thought processes, how it can shrink people mentally. This is something I have learned over these years.
So you mentioned about supporting not only supporting the cancer patient, but also supporting the family.
When you treat a patient, when you treat a sick person, and the person goes back cured but is not productive, he becomes a burden on the family. Already they are poor. Already people work for daily wages. Already they have lost opportunities at employment and education. And so treatment cannot be looked in isolation as a silo. Healthcare, employment, and education are very intimately linked. And so when we treat somebody, we also have to see what happens to employment for the individual or the caregivers at home, how they will sustain their lives once treatment is over. And then we also have to ensure that education of the kids is not hampered with that. We're able to, during the acute phase of treatment, when lot of disruption is happening, we have to look into how we can ensure that the kids don't drop out of school. And so these are very important things that unfortunately we don't learn as trainee medical professionals. This is something we had to learn on the job.
Yeah. So, doctor, how about science and religion or religious faith? How do you reconcile both and keep your focus on science? Because you keep talking about, it has to be scientific. So how do you stay focused on science?
So let us not go into the questions regarding existence of God and the religion around the God. Let's not go that way.
Okay.
Today, whatever we do, we are in times where we need evidence for what we are doing. We need evidence to support a certain line of treatment. Now, I know there are a lot of traditional methods of treatment that are prevalent in this country and many other countries. Now, there is a lot of faith. People have a lot of faith in indigenous methods. And many of these methods are also supported by religious beliefs. Now, my thought would be, I don't know about the traditional ways of treatment. I have no knowledge. But then I am open to looking for evidence in traditional methods of knowledge. If we want to recommend faith-based healing or traditional indigenous methods of treatment, they have to be compared against proven methods of treatment. And if they show value, they should be used. If they do not show value, they should not be used. Ultimately, the aim of all forms of treatment is to make the sick person well, is to keep the healthy person healthy, is to prevent diseases and sickness. And so, whatever we recommend must have evidence. If you show me the evidence, I'm happy to recommend it.
So it is about evidence-based rather than whether it is science or faith or any of that. So you are looking for show me evidence. That's all.
So when we say evidence, it must be reproducible, it must be scalable, There are criteria to say what is good quality scientific evidence, and it must follow all of that. It cannot be so. Even in medical practice, when I was a resident, my professor would say, "Do it," and why? Because I think so. Today there is no "I think so." No professor will say, "I think so." Do it because I said so. Today, the professor has to give evidence. So that's how far we have traveled. And so the same applies to any form of treatment that we propose.
So it's more about no more "I said so," but ask for evidence and ask for clear, ask questions.
Yes.
I think
this is not asking questions is not disrespectful. Asking questions is not to show anything or anybody or any process or any faith down. It is about inquiring to know what is best for the patient. That's all.
What will be your key message to each and everyone who's listening to our podcast today? Some action for them.
Yeah, my final parting thought for today is every one of us here is born into privilege. We were all born into families that had the means and resources to give us the education that we needed, to give us opportunities for the employment that we have, to be able to take care of our families, our children, and live comfortably. At the same time, the same day that we were born in, the same time that we were born in, there are many others who were born into poor hamlets and fishing villages and daily wage earners, people who grew up without the opportunities we had and who are still struggling to take care of their families and kids, and clearly we were all created unequal. And do you know why that happened? Because God, who made all of us, gave us more than what we needed, because He trusted us to use the excess that we have for the benefit of those who do not have. And I think this is a trust that we cannot squander. Together, we can all make a huge difference. That's my thought.
Thank you, Doctor. I mean, that is really, really such a strong message to everyone. And to all of you, I really wanted to bring a social leader to you. We have spoken about social leader, and here is one social leader who I'm very, very proud to be working with, learning from every single day. And this key message...
We all learn from each other, Sharmi.
Absolutely. I think, thanks for reminding. But I mean, for me, while you say I'm a coach, but I mean, for us, it's a constant chemistry, constant learning from each other. From you as well, whoever you are listening to us, share your thoughts, your feedback, anything which you want us to think differently, both of us. And what changes are you bringing to people around you? What is that one action you will do differently? If anything you want to do share with us. You can put in the comment or email or WhatsApp me, and I will bring that together in our upcoming session, share with them. You also share if you want to hear from someone else, from any other social leader or any other leader from whom you want us to have conversation with. So please feel free to reach out. This is a podcast which we are developing together. So thank you so much for watching and listening and contributing. So thank you. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of people around you, and spread the happiness, positivity around anyone. Stay healthy. Thank you.